The prophecy is no longer a secret whispered in the shadows. It's a weapon that has shattered the royal court, leaving a king broken, a hero on the run, and the future of a nation hanging in the balance. The episode erupts from a place of quiet dread directly into violent, desperate action. We see King Saul, a man completely consumed by the monster of his own fear. This isn't the strategic paranoia of a ruler, but the raw, unfiltered obsession of a man who knows his time is up. He confronts David in the royal chambers, and the mask of civility shatters completely. He no longer sees the loyal soldier, the celebrated hero, or even his own son-in-law. He sees only the living, breathing embodiment of his own failure and replacement. The physical attack is shocking in its brutality, a final, ugly gasp of a reign that is spiritually already over. Saul isn't just fighting David, he is fighting God's decree, and it is a battle he cannot win. The chaos multiplies when Prince Eshbaal, the insecure and overlooked heir, joins the fray. His attack is a pathetic, desperate grab for validation, attempt to prove his worth to a father who has never seen it. But his involvement only highlights the rot at the core of Saul's house. David, defending himself, easily subdues them both, but his refusal to land a killing blow is the most powerful moment of the scene. It draws a stark, moral line in the sand. Saul is willing to murder out of fear, while David chooses mercy out of respect for God's timing. This act of restraint doesn't calm the storm. It merely redirects it, forcing David to flee the palace, his life irrevocably changed. David, wounded and shaken, finds refuge with his wife Michal. What follows is a devastating emotional earthquake. For the first time, the secret is spoken aloud within the family. David reveals the truth he has carried alone. He was anointed by Samuel long before he ever set foot in the palace. He is the chosen king. Michal's world collapses in an instant. Her shock is not born of disbelief, but of the horrifying realization that her entire life, her marriage, her place in the court, has been a lie built on a divine plot she never knew existed. Her anger is a complex, painful thing. She feels betrayed by David's silence, terrified for her father's sanity, and heartbroken for the family being torn apart by a prophecy she never asked for. This confrontation forces us to see the human cost of destiny. Meanwhile, the spiritual thread of the season reaches its powerful conclusion. The prophet Samuel, knowing his end is near, performs one final, exhausting act of prophecy. He forces a divine vision upon the broken Saul, making him witness David seated on his throne. Saul resists. He fights the truth with every fiber of his being, but the vision is undeniable. Broken, trembling, and utterly defeated, Saul is forced to speak the name of his successor. He utters the word, David. With that single agonizing confession, Saul's divine right to rule is officially and permanently severed. The cost is immense. Samuel, having completed his life's mission, collapses and dies. His passing marks the end of an era. God's spirit has departed from Saul, and the prophet who anointed him is gone. The divine oversight is now fully on David's shoulders. As the palace reels from Samuel's death and the king's breakdown, the consequences ripple outwards with incredible speed. The news that Saul attacked David, the nation's hero, inside his own home, spreads like a virus through the army and the people. Morale, already fragile, completely collapses. Loyalty, once given to the king out of duty and faith, is now rooted only in fear. And fear is a weak foundation. In a massive, symbolic shift of power, we see a wave of defections. Soldiers, commanders, and most significantly, David's own brothers, Eliab and the fierce Joab, abandon Saul's banner to pledge their allegiance to David. This isn't just a tactical move. It is a spiritual one. They are choosing God's chosen leader over the tradition of the throne. This gathering of mighty men around David in the wilderness marks the birth of his legendary army, a force defined not by obligation, but by courage, loyalty, and a shared divine purpose. Back in the palace, Michal is trapped in an impossible position, torn between the blood of her father and the destiny of her husband. Her internal conflict is a quiet tragedy playing out amidst the loud political chaos, foreshadowing that her role is far from over and will be fraught with painful choices. Just when it seems Saul's downfall is complete and irreversible, a stunning twist reconfigures the entire board. Prince Eshbaal returns to court not in shame after his failed attack, but with a triumphant announcement. He claims to have secured a massive diplomatic victory by forging an alliance with the king of Edom, bringing him to Saul's court. On the surface, this looks like a life-saving political win, a chance for Saul to regain strength in international standing. But for the audience, the moment is dripping with dread. We recognize the Edomite king. He's the same man who held Eshbaal captive earlier in the season. This is not a triumph. It is a transaction, and likely a trap. Eshbaal, in his desperate thirst for relevance and a way to secure his own future, hasn't brought an ally. He has brought a wolf into the sheep pen. He has potentially opened the gates for foreign manipulation and control over Israel's throne from the inside. The threat is no longer just a civil war between David and Saul. It is now a potential hostile takeover by a cunning foreign power, making the political game infinitely more dangerous. The final moments of the episode leave the old world in ruins and a new, uncertain one beginning. We find David outside the city, looking back at the palace that was once his home. He is surrounded by his growing band of loyal warriors. He has no crown, no throne, and no roof over his head. He is now a fugitive. Yet in this moment of profound loss, he has never been more powerful. He possesses the one thing Saul has irrevocably lost: divine legitimacy. He has the public support and the moral authority that comes from being the wronged party. Saul's reign is functionally over, a hollow shell propped up by a dangerous foreign pact. Samuel is dead. Michal is lost to him. The episode closes on this precipice of change. The story is no longer about whether David will be king, but how he will navigate the treacherous path from fugitive to monarch, with enemies both within his nation and at its gates. The stage is set for a season of exile, warfare, and the forging of a legend.